Over the next 2 years, the work proper got underway. There are some fascinating areas in an aircraft factory, like the undercarriage testing rig. As the undersecretaries, deputy secretaries and government ministers came and went, the undercarriage itself just kept on going up and down, until it almost destroyed itself. And the wing tanks continued to sploosh and splash right through the fuel crisis of 1973. Because of OPEC and political events thousands of miles away, the wings themselves were beginning to look like they might never fly. Then the election of 1974, the spectre of nationalisation, and the wheels came down for good. Sir Arnold Hall, chairman of Hawker Siddeley, decided the aircraft would no longer be profitable. He cancelled it, despite the fact that the government had a 50% stake. Tony Benn was the Secretary for Industry at the time.
The company said they had reassessed it and this aircraft would court disaster. And they wrote to me and they said that the market isn't there, the costs will escalate, there'll be competition and so on. And as we were equal partners, if you like, with them, I called in Sir Arnold Hall and Sir John Lidbury and went over it with them, insisted on our rights because we were a partner, saw the shop stewards, who were brilliant because they knew that what they were talking about, it wasn't just figures for them, saw the Confederation of Shipbuilding and Engineering Unions, who were very committed because this was the only civil project actually in process of development in Britain.
Would you characterise it as a battle that you had with Sir Arnold Hall and Hawker Siddeley?
Well, you're making it very dramatic. I had a big argument with him, and you make that very personal. These things aren't personal.
The workers held their breath and also held sit-ins. They seized the drawings, demonstrated, and shouted that this was more than just an aircraft. It was their livelihood. The struggle was furious.
I took it to a cabinet committee and we argued it out. And when you argued it out, it became absolutely clear that this was a very important element of the future of Britain as a manufacturing nation. We are so brainwashed now into believing that profit and loss this week and next week is what life is about. We forget that that the future of this country depends upon using our skill to make things people need that will keep us going.
It ended as a classic compromise, to cancel production work, but to keep the design team going at government expense. The tools and jigs, though enormously expensive, would be kept intact. The 146 was on the back burner, waiting for nationalisation. Surely this is no way to build an airliner?
Well, I don't think it is. I agree with you. I don't think it is. But unfortunately, it's the system that we have got in this country. It's the only system that we've really got because the manufacturers by themselves just simply don't have the money to do it.
Nationalisation came at the beginning of 1978, and there was little surprise that by July of that year, the 146 was given a new lease of life. Hawker Siddeley and BAe had become British Aerospace. The government were now calling the shots. If it's not a success, then surely won't the accusation be that if it hadn't been for that Mr. Benn worrying more perhaps about jobs, then we wouldn't have spent the money on an aircraft which is now not successful?
Well, I dare say the BBC will say that. I'm almost certain they will. They'll have a programme about
it. That's not answering the question, though.
No, but I mean, the truth is that you talk about risk-taking, you take risk. You're bound to take risk. There's no future without taking a risk. And we are deciding, or we did decide then, and I think quite rightly, to risk some public money on backing highly skilled people and the finest aircraft designers and manufacturers in the world, don't make any mistake about that, to produce an aircraft for which we knew there would be a need, and it's coming into service or coming into production at a time when the world's airlines are going to be re-equipping. And that is why I think it will succeed, but I can't guarantee anything. You can't guarantee anything in this world.
The 146 has had perhaps a harder struggle into life than most aircraft. But there is a final ironic twist to the tale. During the years after the oil crisis, all airlines put off buying new aircraft. Had the 146 not been temporarily cancelled, it would have been too early. Now many of the world's airlines are desperate to re-equip their obsolete fleets. So, partly because of delays and indecision, the 146 has become what the airlines need, a highly modern, brand new small to medium-sized airliner, up to date at exactly the right time.
Had there not been the fuel crisis in the first place, which resulted in the airlines buying moratorium, and they had gone on buying, the 146 would probably have gone on. It was a factor of that fuel crisis of 73, 74, which really screwed the whole business.
There wouldn't be any nuclear industry without public money. There wouldn't be any computer industry in Britain without public money. There wouldn't be an aircraft industry without public money. There wouldn't be a whole range of other technologies without public money. And these people who say government should get off our back are the same people who queue up on Monday morning asking for 500 million, 100,000 million pounds to keep their industry going.
With all the momentous decisions going on the 146, start, stop, start again, nationalise and maybe denationalise, it's easy to forget the thousands of ordinary people it takes to make a modern airliner. Every change of plan means houses sold, schools changed, sometimes years of enthusiasm down the drain. In our next film on the 146, we'll be looking at those people, the plane makers.